With Reginald D. Hunter live at the Apollo in half an hour. Now though, hosting this show is no Hogwarts.
Good evening, welcome to Have I Got News For You? I'm Daniel Radcliffe. In the news this week, as austerity begins to bite, one old lady stops by to check on her bank balance. It's been years in the creation, but at long last, Amstrad unveil their answer to Apple's MacBook Air. And in the week of his pre-budget announcement, there's more bad news for George Osborne, as it emerges that even Mr. Bingley has had his house repossessed. With Ian tonight is a comedian who I insisted was on the show partly because he's very funny, but mainly because he makes me look tall. Andy Hamilton. And with Paul is one of the few Radio 1 DJs that we're comfortable having on the show. Please welcome Sarah Cox. We start with the bigger stories of the week. Ian and Andy, take a look at this.
Andrew Mitchell, the former Chief Whip, caught on CCTV.
Yeah, it's controversy about... Oh, hello.
Hello, hate mail.
PC Pleb and Proud, and the Hampshire Pleb and Proud.
And that's Michael Crick, the reporter who's got to the heart of this story.
What is the heart of this story?
The heart... It's Christmas, Panto. The heart of the story is that everyone thought that the bad person here was the Chief Whip, Andrew Mitchell, but it may be that it's the police themselves.
Oh.
Thank you, I said it was Panto. That's sort of how these stories run now.
I don't think the police would behave like that. What do you think, boys and girls? Oh, no, they wouldn't.
They wouldn't fake a police log. Yes, I think they would. Would they have it in for the Chief Whip because he was trying to impose odd terms and conditions on them?
Are we going to do the whole show like that?
Yeah.
Are you easily manipulated?
Some more than others.
Very good, very good.
You know, a lot of police misconduct is down the board. If you're a policeman, your job is to stand by a gate. It's getting towards the end of the day. You see the one with the short temper coming towards you. You think he's pushing his bike, so you say, "Oh, sorry, Mr. Mitchell, this gate is only for disabled unicorns now. You can't come through here," you know, and then as he goes off, he says, "Sorry, Mr. Mitchell, what's that? Can you talk more slowly so it can all be written down by a pretend tourist over there?"
Yeah, but, I mean, you do have to remember that this is the first government for, I mean, a good 20 years that's tried to reform the police.
Yeah.
It has tried to cut pay, it's tried to cut wastage. There's been a report into the police by this man called Tom Windsor, and they don't like it. And the Police Federation is quite seriously... If you think, you know, there are dark forces at work in his world, you should try the Police Federation.
You've just compared the head of the Police Federation to Voldemort.
Yep.
Yeah.
The chief of the Mets in a very difficult... Was it Hogan Howe?
Hogan Howe.
He's in a...
70s cop.
He's in a very difficult situation because the eyewitness, who was a member of the public, was neither a member of the public nor an eyewitness. No. But the rest of it could all be true.
True, yeah.
Perfectly true.
A small detail of him not having been there is a problem.
We thought we'd try an experiment here. Paul, if I could just give these to you. We're going to watch the CCTV footage.
Oh,
and I'm going to play Andrew Mitchell.
OK.
And you're going to play the policeman. OK, let's see if we can make the alleged conversation fit with the pictures. Can I exit through the main gate, officer?
Sorry, sir. Cycles have to exit at the side pedestrian gate.
Sorry, officer, I am the Chief Whip, and I always exit through the main gate.
It is the policy for us to open a side pedestrian gate, and I'll be more than happy to open these for you. No officer present can open the main gate, as this is the policy we have been directed to follow.
No, I am the Chief Whip. I am the Chief Whip. Open the main gate.
I'm more than happy to open a side pedestrian gate for you, sir, but it is policy that we are not to allow cycles for the main vehicle entrance.
I'm not exiting through the pedestrian gate.
Come along now, there's a good gentleman.
Best you learn your place. You don't run this government, you're plebs.
You've got a point there, sir. I agree with you.
Ian, you're quite informed. Can you explain to me what...
Oh, no, he isn't.
No, you see, nobody thought he was.
Can you explain why all inquiries seem to take so long?
Yes.
And why they're always so expensive?
Because there are lawyers involved.
Right. Yes.
And lawyers have to take a long time because they're paid by the hour.
Well, good. Thank you for clearing that up for me. Who would like to see Andrew Marr talk to Boris Johnson about population statistics?
Yes, please.
It's more interesting than it sounds.
Since I've been mayor of London in the last 4 years, the city seems to have acquired another 600,000 people. I mean, I'm not saying it's all down to me, but you know.
This is the exact opposite of Bradley Wiggins, Britain's least popular cyclist, Andrew Mitchell. The Sun reported the latest developments over Andrew Mitchell's foul-mouthed tirade, but his offence seems trivial compared to another MP's callous incitement to violence. According to the police log, Andrew Mitchell told officers, best you learn your place, you don't run this government. Coincidentally, what David Cameron wrote in Nick Clegg's Christmas card. Paul and Sarah, take a look at this.
There we are, David Cameron and the aforementioned Queen. She's the first monarch to attend the cabinet meeting since about 1787 or something like that. And you can see she's absolutely thrilled to be there.
That brooch actually squirts water. Watch in a minute, you'll see some... like that.
Well, I think her standard phrase doesn't work with the cabinet. And what do you do? Dunno. What do you do? Dunno. And they gave her some gifts.
Some gifts, yeah.
Yes, they gave us 60 placemats with pictures of Buckingham Palace on.
Yeah.
But no coasters, I noticed.
Well, just from a tourist shop they just got that.
This is obviously what you get the woman who has everything. Something shit.
She'd want a picture of somebody else's house.
Exactly. Yeah.
Do you know what I
Unless
mean?
it's
Not
a
of her
subtle
own.
hint. This is where you live,
Yeah, do you-
in case she forgets.
And the Foreign Office gave her a bit of Antarctica, but she wasn't impressed because they didn't even wrap it.
We do have also the team photo to show you that was taken of the Queen and her cabinet. They're all having a fantastic time. And then just in the top right-hand corner there, we have John Terry, I think. It's,
Didn't she say something about going to the bank?
yes, she made a joke to George Osborne.
Saying you haven't got any money left.
Pretty much.
I saw one with Bill Bars.
Yes.
Which regrettably some of the things they did belong to us.
Some of them are sold, but we've still got some left.
Why have we got subtitles? It's not the killing, is it? I think most of us can get that. Here we've got in Girl Bath.
Is she the mystery guest?
There's a bit of a pattern developing. If you look at her last few weeks, right, she went to the Bank of England last week and got them to show where they keep all the gold. She was at number 10, sussing out the joint this week. She's always, under any pretext, visiting army bases. Clearly, she's planning a coup.
What's in to become head of state?
And since it's Christmas, who would like to see the UN Secretary-General Ban Ki-moon attempting to sing a Christmas song?
I'm making a list, checking it twice. Going to find out who's gonna naughty or nice. Ban Ki-moon is coming to town.
If that doesn't bring peace to Syria, I don't know what will.
This is the Queen's visit to Downing Street. The Queen's name was given to a huge stretch of land in Antarctica. Cold, remote and shrinking by the year, the Queen is 86. Ian and Andy, here's another one for you.
That's the building with a hole in it.
BBC. And that's the chairman of the BBC Trust introducing today's Director General. This is the BBC looking into itself.
It is.
The Beeb got absolutely slammed for not broadcasting a story about a paedophile and then broadcasting a story about someone who wasn't a paedophile, which is a pity. Because if they'd done it the other way round, we'd all be saying how brilliant. And
when you put it like that, it doesn't seem so bad,
it doesn't seem so bad, does it? So no one's been fired, but the Deputy Head of News has resigned.
Yes, Stephen Mitchell and the BBC have said that he gets to work his 6 months' notice on full pay before retiring on a full BBC pension. And then you get out and stay out. This is a slightly bizarre thing that BBC Chairman Chris Patten had to say as the report was released.
Do you think he's honest, dishonest? Do you think he has further questions to answer?
And when did I stop beating my wife?
Is that real?
I don't know if that's him telling us that he has done that, or...
I think he's trying to say the questions are all set up.
Right. The only man to lose his job, of course. George Entwistle, what's he said about the report?
It's exonerated him.
Yes, completely.
I mean, the big question was whether they didn't put out the Newsnight in order to put out tributes to lovable DJ Jimmy at Christmas. And a lot of journalists and a lot of cynical people thought they ditched the investigation so they could put out a lovely light ent, Isn't Jimmy Wonderful? But anyway, the report said that isn't true.
Yes, George Entwistle has said, I am pleased the report makes it clear that I played no part in the decision not to broadcast the Savile investigation, although Entwistle is still facing an inquiry as to why he did allow the continued broadcast of The One Show. Apparently, he made it very clear that he told Helen Bowden and 2 other BBC executives, I have decided that I need to protect the BBC and BBC News within it, and I'm going to do a statement that makes it impossible for Peter Rippon not to resign. I can't work out what that means, and I managed to get into the Chamber of Secrets when I was 12. So nothing really happened at the end of this report, but how much did it cost?
$2 million.
Yes. Which you could have fired 4 Entwistles for.
I worked at the BBC from 1976 I started, and I can tell you it was a hotbed of boorish, sexist misogyny, just like the post office, where I worked in 75, and Harrods, where I worked in 74. And you don't need an inquiry to find out the prevailing attitudes of the 1970s. You just have to watch an episode of On the Buses.
But it strikes me, those 3 institutions you've mentioned, you worked at all of them, so that's odd, isn't it?
Yes, this is the long-awaited Pollard report, which has concluded that the BBC was completely wrong 30 years ago to employ Sue Pollard. Following the Pollard report, former Newsnight editor Peter Rippon has been moved to new duties. He's been moved from head of arses to head of elbows. The revelations have continued to hit the front pages, and this week included the shocking BBC Bungle probe. Not Bungle 2. And nobody's sure who fixed it for BBC Head of News Helen Bowden to stay in her job.
Yeah.
Paul and Sarah, here's another for you.
Yes. That's... right. This is a very, very complicated way to show that the world is going to finish in a...
Oh, dear.
Blimey, look at that. That's the end of Leamington Spa. Yeah, the Mayans, I believe, believed that the world's going to finish tomorrow or today, if we're going to pretend this is today. Yeah, Friday. It's Friday today. It's not really, it's Thursday. But Friday! The world is going to end in about 3 minutes' time, which is a nuisance for Ian, because he's in the lead.
Should we all just, does everyone want to stand up in the audience and just say who they really hate? You know, like the bosses, like the in-laws and that, just get it all out now, because the world's going to end anyway.
Or make love. Just make love.
I'm sure that if the world was going to end, the start of that process would have already begun. We don't, who knows?
But no one believes this. The Mayans don't believe this either.
No, this is the thing. Why might it not be
like
correct?
1 in 10 people are a little bit worried about it.
But it's just a calendar. It's a very long cycle.
It's like when it goes from spin to rinse. That's what it's
Or from April to May.
But anyway, a lot of people have misinterpreted this and thought the Mayans are very sort of deep and prophetic people, so they must know it's the end of the world.
There's a Mr. Liu Kui Wang, I'm definitely saying that wrong, who's built something. Do you know what that might be?
An ark.
No.
A shelter.
Underground bunker sort of thing?
It's a sort of survival pod, I think is what he calls it.
Is that completely really hollow, because if it starts rolling, he's going to get properly bruised in that, isn't he? If it's just rattling around.
Yeah. He's also very reliant on where it rolls as to whether he can get out or not. Yeah.
He says it's tsunami-proof if you close the door.
But what if the Earth's invaded by giant, football-loving aliens?
Anyway, NASA has felt obliged to respond to all this bollocks speculation. They've made a film. They released a 4-minute film.
Brilliant.
Yes, they made a 4-minute film.
Yep.
Called "The World Didn't End Yesterday," and they released it a week early. It begins. If you're watching this video, it means only one thing: get a life. British reaction, though, has been wonderful and British and restrained. The AA have been issuing advice for motorists.
If the world should end, pull over to the nearest lay-by.
You know what? It's that good.
Is it?
It's really that good. They said drivers should allow extra time for their journey. And what did the London Fire Brigade advise?
Put a hose pipe in your mouth and turn the tap on.
They suggested people fit a smoke alarm on each floor so they would be alerted to the fire and brimstone spraying in the house. Yes, this is the end of the world, due to happen any moment now. Or if you're watching the repeat, hey! This is according to the Mayan calendar. I've not seen it, but I imagine Mr. December looks very gloomy. According to The Guardian, the Chinese Communist Party have detained 90 people for spreading rumours that the world is about to end. And knowing China, for those 90 people, it probably will. And so to round 2, Daniel Radcliffe's jolly wonderland of festive Christmas tidings. Here's a lovely winter scene by Bruegel. Oh. And there are some clues to the news stories which he kindly painted in. Fingers on Buzzer's teams, here's the first one. Oh,
no! Is this Starbucks offering to pay some tax?
It's not. This was the news that a Starbucks campaign to spread the cheer of Christmas has backfired after it was hijacked by Twitter users. So, next to the Natural History Museum, Starbucks is sponsoring the ice rink, and you're allowed to text in any message you liked, as long as you put hashtag spread the cheer after it. So you can sort of imagine it started off quite nicely. Ice skating with the most perfect man I could ask for at Christmas. Hashtag spread the cheer. Christmas isn't just a day, it's a frame of mind. Love this. Hashtag spread the cheer. Hey, Starbucks, Scrooge was nicer to his employees than you are. Hashtag spread the cheer. Hey, Starbucks, pay your tax. Hashtag spread the cheer. Starbucks coffee, I'd rather drink Ronnie Cat shit. Hashtag spread the cheer. Oi, Starbucks, pay up or off, you tax-dodging arselegs. Hashtag spread the cheer.
But it was predictable, wasn't it? I mean, you wouldn't have to be a Mayan to see that.
This was the Starbucks Twitter screen at the Natural History Museum, which was hijacked by tax protesters. One of the tweets displayed at the Natural History Museum said, if firms like Starbucks paid proper taxes, museums wouldn't have to prostitute themselves to advertisers. Something they agree with down the road at the HMV&A and over in New York at the Guggenheim. Fingers on Buzzer's teams, here's the next clue.
This is the norovirus. This is going to make Christmas very toilet-centric.
It is. The Yuletide logs of thousands of Britons will be a bit softer this year. Apparently, the norovirus has hit 880,000 people so far.
In March of this year, at my daughter's 2-year-old birthday party, we basically nearly wiped out, like, 3 generations of our family and about 3 or 4 classes at the school as well, because everybody left and everybody was ill that evening. And I, like, triple-checked how I cooked the sausages, because I thought, it's the sausages. But luckily, it was norovirus. And the doctor said you can literally just touch a wall, walk away. And we were doing the traditional northern party game of touch the wall. Oh, touch the wall. And then, yeah, and, you know, it can just stay there, and then everybody touches the wall and they win a prize.
The Health Protection Agency has given some advice. Thorough hand-washing after using the lavatory, before preparing food and before eating.
It's odd now that you actually have to tell the public to wash their hands after they've been to the toilet.
I know.
Don't you think that should be done in school?
I mean, basically, everything Daniel just read out comes under the heading of common sense, doesn't it? But
yeah.
But you're not allowed to have that anymore.
No, it's gone.
And I'm a young person, so that's why I read it out, not recognising it as common sense.
How very true.
Yeah. We're lucky.
Don't worry, young person.
Sorry.
You will grow wise and old one day. Sounding a bit like Dumbledore. Why was Hogwarts never inspected by Ofsted? Children being eaten by serpents. Ofsted have questions to answer, I think.
It's a private school, though.
Oh, that's true, yes.
It's not much of a title, is it? Harry Potter and the Ofsted Report. It's...
What happens if you find yourself in an enclosed space at sea and someone on board has the norovirus?
Duck.
Throw them overboard.
300 passengers on board P&O's luxury cruise ship, the Oriana, were struck down by the bug, leading to it being labelled the Plague Ship.
Can you imagine showing off the photos of your holiday when you get back from the Plague Ship, though? Here's Barry and June, that we met there from Derby. There's June on her hands and knees. Yeah, Barry's rubbing her back and holding her hair back. He was ever so nice. A lovely couple.
How did these unfortunate puking people react?
At first, completely in an over-the-top dramatic way. Then suspicion entered their eyes. Then a cursory turn of the head and a quick glance back, meeting your eye just for a second, and then looking out towards the distant horizon, and then throwing up. Picture that quick. First bit's romantic and
Well, yes, they demanded refunds.
You can't have your sick back, I'm sorry. It's ours now.
And when the ship returned to port, the passengers even threatened a sit-in. At least we think that's what they said.
Yeah.
This is the norovirus, or, to put it in terms Harry Potter fans will understand, from both ends, it's Expelliarmus. Fingers on Buzzer's teams.
Did a dog eat lots of Christmas lights, and then when he passed them, they were still lit and fine?
As you say, there is a dog that has eaten a lot of Christmas lights.
Yeah.
How did the dog's owner, Charlie... sorry, Charlie was the dog.
Yeah.
The dog's owner is Sharon, and
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Sharon.
Yeah.
Find out... How did she find where the missing lights were?
He started flickering. Intermittently.
She took him to the pet hospital after finding bits of wire sticking out of Charlie's faeces. She's thorough, isn't she?
Yeah.
And here is a picture of Charlie taken by the vet. That's not an X-ray, he's plugged in. Charlie has been described as a repeat offender. What else has he eaten?
Has he eaten anyone's homework?
No. My dog genuinely did eat my homework once when I was a kid. No, he ate my copy of Just William, which I was supposed to be doing a report on.
Oh.
And I had to go into school and say, really, though...
And did the teacher say, fantasy again, Potter?
What would they say, like,
what, you're not on a film set now, Dan, all that standard crap. And I was like, I know, I'm a lot less happy.
No one's getting me coffee.
I know, who are all these other people? They're so close to me. Yes, this is Charlie, the dog who needed surgery after swallowing a string of festive Christmas lights. As he prepared to face the operation, his owner, Sharon Fay, gave him a hug and his little face lit up. It's time for the odd one out round now. One between you this week. Buzz in when you know the answer. The Sphinx, Lord Voldemort, my dog, and Tycho Brahe.
It's got to be noses, isn't it? As in the phrase, my dog has no nose. How does he smell? Well, it's mainly through the mouth, I suppose. So the Sphinx there, he's got no nose.
How did What's-He-Chops lose his nose?
He lost it in a duel.
In a duel?
Yes,
he had it cut off?
Voldemort never had a nose.
He did have a nose at one point.
Oh.
We're going to pick old Brett Metal Nose at the bottom. He's the odd one out.
No, you're wrong. Ian?
Let's go Sphinx.
Is it the Sphinx?
Oh, no, it's...
No, it's Voldemort, is it? Yeah, of course it is.
I said Voldemort.
Did you?
Yes.
But you didn't give a reason.
Yes, I did.
You gave the wrong reason, then. Give a better reason.
Oh.
Because...
I can see why Hermione lost interest. But,
that's unfair.
He's the only one who has a nose. The others have all lost their nose.
There you go.
Yay! Thank you.
Ian Hislop, everybody. Yes, they all have no nose, apart from Voldemort, whose nose is there, but very, very flat. It can be a real problem for a dog not to have a nose, as in the park it's considered impolite to simply stare up another dog's backside.
Considered impolite? Who by? Oh, really? What's the matter with you?
According to Wikipedia, Lord Voldemort is the main villain in the Harry Potter books. They made them into books.
What was the basic story, then? It's, does it all turn out all right in the end?
It's... yeah!
Oh, that's all I want to know.
Does.
That's good enough for me.
Time now for the Missing Words round, which this week features as its guest publication the Powerful Owl newsletter, which obviously they've got because of my association with owls. I once killed an owl with a shovel. No, sorry, no, sorry. We'll start with what? Forced to deny claims that he underwent 16-hour sex change to become Michelle.
Mrs. Obama.
Mike Tyson.
Oh, really?
He's been forced to deny this. Apparently, this spoof story appeared on a website which then spread around the world. According to the story, Tyson visited the same skilled reconstructive surgeon that Terry Williams used before he became Serena. Next. I hate what, says Mick.
Blues music badly played by middle-class white people.
Irish stereotypes.
I hate tight trousers, says Mick. Next. Pulling cigarettes and shampoo, what?
And my only joys in life, says Pope.
Can all cause a leech to regurgitate into a wound, worsening infection.
Oh, should have guessed
Yes,
that.
this is advice for owl spotters on how to deal with blood-sucking leeches. And finally, guitarist was sitting on what?
Flat-faced pullet owl.
A small fortune. This was a story about a man who I think found about £85 down the back of his sofa. I've just got to brace myself from an immense amount of hatred from the north of England.
Don't do it, then.
I've got to, Ian. It's on the auto-cue. You know what that means. There's estimated to be £1.61 down the back of an average sofa. So if you live in Hull, what are you waiting for? Run out into the front garden and check.
Very bad. Bad wizard. Bad.
And so the final scores are Paul and Sarah have 7 and Ian and Andy have 9. But just before we go, there is time for the caption competition.
Police are looking for vandals with a bicycle pump. Eric Pickles reincarnated.
On which note, we say thank you to our panellists Ian Hislop and Andy Hamilton, and Paul Merton and Sarah Cox. And I leave you with news that, in a candid moment, Ed Miliband admits how much he spent on his brother's Christmas present. There's a bit of a letdown for Boris Johnson after his secretary promises him a dirty weekend. And after a busy year, George Michael arrives at his sister's house for Christmas. Good night.
Live at the Apollo coming right up with Omid Jalili, Reginald D. Hunter and Julian Clary. And more big names with Graham Norton later, including Dustin Hoffman and Billy Connolly.
Oh, hello, everybody. Look, I'm Harry Potter. Harry Potter. Oh, I'm Harry Potter.
You look like Trotsky.
What?
You look like Trotsky.
I don't look like Trotsky. I look like you, mate. Harry Potter, Harry Potter, Harry Potter. I'm Harry Potter as an OAP.
Shut up.
How am I going to tell the wife?